I have always had a propensity for the underdogs and misfits of the world and the moments in which their lives miraculously turn around. Didn't we all feel a little sorry for Rudolph when he was mocked for having that big red bulbous nose, and worse yet, when he got kicked off the team, even though he had great quads? But if you'll remember, in the 11th hour, the big guy in the red suit experienced his defining moment by utilizing, and I quote Burl Ives, Rudolph's nonconformity, and Christmas was saved. Here's what I learned. By turning life's defining moments into action moments, transformational pathways of growth, opportunity, and service will follow. I mean, really, if a nonconformist red-nosed reindeer can get a bag full of toys from here to Toledo in a snowstorm, surely we too can change the world. My entire life has been driven by defining moments, the first occurring when I was 5 years old and was of tremendous benefit to me for the next 25 years of my life. My sister had just started taking piano lessons when one day my mom, who had also studied as a young girl, came home with a book of easy piano duets. The next thing I remember, I was sitting on the floor, awestruck, while I listened to their four hands fumble through a moving rendition of Bye Bye Blackbird with dynamics. I'd found my bliss. I begged my parents to take lessons, and before I knew it, I was pleading with my sister to finish practicing so I could take my turn at the keys, and in a very short time frustrated her to the point of quitting while I eagerly turned myself on to the joys of music making and literally played myself into college, graduate school, and eventually on to Broadway. Imagine one single defining moment of inspiration put into action has positively impacted almost half my life to date. Some 10 years later, in 1990, upon an accidental trip through the faded resort town of Sharon Springs, New York, my husband Doug and I discovered a community in ruins that truly redefined our life's paths overnight. A former playground for the Vanderbilts and Whitneys, and years later, Eastern European Jews, Sharon Springs was made famous for its mineral waters and subsequent resort built around it. The forgotten remains of this ghost town captured our imaginations and preservation-minded spirits with visions of a community saved and reinvented. Many of the locals, and even the mayor, was quoted as saying, "Sharon Springs is dead." I guess we didn't listen. After 2 years of unnerving self-evaluation and hair loss, we finally made the difficult decision to leave New York City and become full-time Sharon Springs residents in pursuit of a concept truly beyond our abilities and scope. The poster children of Sharon Springs. This defining moment into the unknown reminds me to this day that even though you sometimes can't actually see it, always envision a better backyard, street, and neighborhood ahead. So, moving forward, I pose this question. What did two gay men moving from the city to the country in the 90s do with useless professional backgrounds? This is what I like to refer to as the I can bake a muffin phase. In truth, what resulted in the success of Rockville Cafe and Bakery had little to do with muffins and turkey melts, but everything to do with providing a common public gathering place as we soon found ourselves hosting poetry readings, civic meetings, and yes, Red Hat luncheons. Volunteerism quickly followed. Doug became chamber president. We both served on the boards of the Arts Council and Historical Society, and I won a seat on the Village Council. Of note, during one busy Sunday morning, I observed a farmer sitting at the counter, eating a sprinkled donut and reading the weekly Penny Saver. Next to him sat a young goth couple eating Eggs Benedict and reading the New York Times. The farmer was talking to the couple about an upcoming tractor auction, and the couple was asking the farmer if Carhartts came in black. Now that, my friends, is a defining moment with a message. Behold the power of community engagement. In 1996, we purchased the crumbling American hotel for $18,000 in order to save it from falling down. Look at that beauty. We had originally intended to stabilize the building in hopes of reselling it, as we were flat broke, but my defining moment, action moment philosophy ended up getting the best of me. I ended up writing my first business plan, and miraculously, with $400,000 in loans and 5 years of sweat equity later, in 2001, this is what happened. Thank you. Within a year, the New York Times, Rachel Ray, HGTV's Restore America, and 3 historic preservation awards had found their way to our door. The outside world began to take notice of what we had always seen. Renewed interest in the rebirth of our community has generated additional business development, providing further proof that historic preservation enables economic sustainability. Incidentally, Doug currently serves as mayor of Sharon Springs, so I guess that would make me the first husband. Sometimes, however, our defining moments find us in the face of tragedy. I had just come home from a long run on April 15th, 2013, and in Boston, the world had changed in an instant. I remember watching the first responders in the middle of complete chaos, running blindly towards the victims, unprepared for what they were about to see. In the days that followed, I kept asking myself, who are these extraordinarily heroic men and women risking their lives for complete strangers? In an effort to acknowledge some of the hundreds of first responders who were of service that day, I created a community recognition event in Provincetown, Massachusetts, honoring the members of Boston Emergency Medical Services. The story gained the attention of the Boston law firm Nixon Peabody, and through their generosity, the not-for-profit Hero Fund America was born. In 2014, HFA honored the Boston Fire Department after a tragic fire on Beacon Street that resulted in 2 line-of-duty deaths and multiple injuries to their department. Back home in Sharon Springs, I created Run for the Hills, which is now an annual race supporting our local fire departments and rescue squads. Hero Fund America's ongoing work will facilitate partnerships with other passionate individuals, community leaders, and foundations by establishing permanent charitable endowment funds supporting the selfless work of first responders across America. Over the past 20 years, we have had the enormous privilege of watching this tiny village find its identity and prosper once again. Through the discovery of a ghost town and by embracing the challenges it has presented to us, we are now better able to understand what our communities actually teach us. That vision and action must be collaborative, and that by acknowledging and utilizing our darkest and brightest defining moments, we are better prepared to serve ourselves and, most importantly, the needs of those around us. And in the words of Margaret Mead, never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. Thank you.